example, I actually lean towards more teams like Endpoint, for example, who were winning games and were doing well, and then they have one like bad loss against Isuba and they just fold.
What about FM as well? When they doing?
It's a shaky one.
Right.
It's a shaky one. But I think we've drifted so far off topic. We've sold out to various different companies. I think it's about time we got into a match of Counter-Strike. Thankfully, production, they've done us a good job. They've loaded up the map.
Solace. They've saved our bacon. And will the UK save our corgis?
This is just getting more and more British as the time will flick on by.
Well, they are called Fish123. They're like, they might as well just call themselves like Fish and Chips or Bangers and Mash.
I think Bangers and Mash should be a
Bangers and Mash would be, or I just love a good knife name, Bangers and Slash. Boom.
I think the one victory so far for me is that we might actually get a knife round. It's the start.
Oh God, can they cope with the pressure? They're probably screaming at each other right now. God damn it, guys!
I'm looking forward to
Oh
this.
no. Oh no. Oh no,
I'm not
really?
like this one.
No, no.
Okay. Well, we did get the knife round, so Fish will get to... I know why I'm saying we, but, you know.
we they
got
can
the
take
knife
our lives.
Yeah. Fish123, they get themselves the knife round. They get that decision in terms of kind of where they want to start on the map. And, well, who knows? Maybe the joking will stop. Maybe it's just going to keep on rolling on through it as...
Maybe it will stop.
Maybe.
Is this just like your prayer for me to stop
I
mentioning?
think you've been waiting for this your entire career, pretty much, haven't you?
Yeah, I don't get to cast, because I didn't start at, as
you were just
UKCS.
I want to go cast Estonian and Lithuanian.
Well, yeah, no, I started doing Baltic stuff because there's a big queue for UKCS, so I decided not to do that. They rejected my pleas, or I didn't ask, one of those. And yeah, basically I didn't do too much. I got to cast a few along the way, like I said, Nerd Rage. I've seen them, and I think there's probably a couple more. Just the names change so often, I don't actually know who they were. But at the same time, we are going to be going into this one relatively shortly, and it does look like Fish have actually gone for that T-side, which I think could be a great start for them, because in terms of their tactician side of things, that's where we sort of draw the line and things get a little bit questionable, especially without Rattlesnake, because he is normally that sort of strong, independent, in-game leading.
I can see where you're going with that one. I'm not quite sure if that's racist or what. I don't know.
It's not racist. That's the saying. Strong, independent black woman who is in no need of a man. That is Rattlesnake.
I'm gonna let you be you. You can be an independent man. You can do your own thing.
But he's not here today.
Yeah.
So what that means is that I don't know. It depends on the style that they were actually going to be playing anyway. I do feel like it was probably quite a loose style because in terms of actual practice for the event, I don't know how much they would have actually put in, especially as we know for a fact that some of them, or most of them, will have other jobs. Rattlesnake, in fact, is at his right now. So that's that's the main reason he's not here. Maybe also fear. But either way.
It's a bit brutal.
I don't know. He might have been scared to face the French.
He was just
normally
working.
the other way around. I've got to have one dig at the French. I can't do it all the way.
You can't be full.
It's French versus England. I've already made a 1066 reference. What more do you want from me?
I mean, we'll see how things will swing. We are going into what will be the pissed around the start of this matchup. Fish123 over on that D side. EnVyUs starting on the CT side. And, well, in terms of buys, it is going to be EnVyUs on just a set of 5 Kevlar. And, well, on the flip side, we look towards Fish and go, okay, 3 sets of Kevlar and, well, 2 utility players. So clearly looking to, well, utilize some nades here and there and get themselves onto a site in fairly nice and much more tactical fashion, judging by the smokes and flashes they have in play.
Double nade to start things off. Tease with Boaster playing a lurk role at the moment, waiting for any aggression to come out from the CT side, but they are not budging at this point in time. Pretty much a 3-2 sort of split with Happy holding a little bit of a position over towards the window, although there is still a possibility, but I reckon from a MBK spot he would be able to hear out. Smoke. Actually bounce back. Okay, I think that was a little bit of a miss, but not the best start in the world. It will leave them a little bit isolated when actually trying to go down. Drop 50 seconds on the clock for them to make their move, and it does look like it's going to be a B hit. And 3 players will be ready and waiting.
It's going to be them just biting the bullet, eventually going to drop on down. Boaster to go up first and be aggressive. Six will spam on away, not quite able to hit the shots just yet, and will be caught out in the blue by Aaron. But CIS will respond, tapping on towards the Grenier. Weber trying to stay alive, but Aaron will be too quick on the trigger to eventually claim that life. Bringing us full circle back to that 3 versus 4. Of course, the hate for your Fish is relatively spread, but EnVyUs more than happy to still try and make this retake work. But they are lacking a kit, and Boaster still just landing all the shots, and well, happy soon led to his grave, leaving just in such an odd scenario, and eventually. Oh, that's going to be that. Fish, they get the pistol round.
God save our queen. They've done it. They're on the board. They've started things off strong. Fish123 with a dominating pistol round. Not really giving too much of a chance, in fact, to the French, who will have to flee back to their pistols for this round. We will see 3 rifles on the board for the UK. So I feel so good to say for the UK. It feels so good.
See, this is the problem. Every time you say something, I don't know if you're taking it seriously.
No, I'm genuinely happy to get to say the UK. It feels good, bruh.
Well, one thing is certain, we are going into what will be this second round, and of course it is just going to be a bit of a rifle and SMG portion. Fish had a clear-cut advantage, but the CZs have dropped them dead where they stand. A bit of aggression will take place. Aaron will eventually punish CIS for going for that repeat, but not before MBK can snap back with the deagle. And well, you said he was good for 1, perhaps even good for 2 at this point, as he's just going to be holding the angle. Aaron will peek on out. The first shot will be missed. Going to go for the second. Not quite going to land that. Maybe even go for the third. Nope. Now for the 4th. Not going to land that either. So a couple of shots later, eventually going to expend the ammo magazine. As Aaron is still going to be pushing on out. We'll find the frag on towards MBK. The CZ of Happy going to pick up 1, leaving just Weber on an island all alone at 1 versus 3. And well, they had the advantage. They had the rifles. The Fish, they made a mess of things.
Yeah, it doesn't work out. They're going to save 1 rifle at least and keep themselves the Kevlar into the next round. The likelihood is Fish will be buying back into this one. And well, nice start from Kenny, especially jumping up, actually spraying down 2 with the CZ. Nice control to be able to do that, but it definitely was problematic in that round, to say the least, from Fish. Unable to finish things off, even with 3 rifles in play. Now they come back with the pistols, and the buy, well, it's not the best from MB. They still have a better buy than what the UK side has. But here is Apex, close and personal. They're rushing onto his position. He'll still get a 1-for-1 trade, so it's not the worst case scenario. Flashbang popped by Happy will slow down any aggressive push that the Fish side will have, and the Molotov will hold them back. However, they've not dedicated themselves to this site. They decided to rotate around a little bit, sort of discuss their options and take things a different manner.
There's going to be a bit of frantic yelling here and there as they will eventually decide kind of where they want to position themselves, and it seems like the presence is going to be to slowly but surely inkle their way over towards this B site. There is a bit of a clear-cut read from their perspective, as Happy will at least punish a frag on towards Weber, leaving it at that 4 versus 3 scenario. The T side are, of course, going to be looking to swing things back in their favor, just counterplay the reset that was originally delivered to them in the round just before. But I've got to say, they really are kind of shoved up against the wall in this one. They have those 2 pistols in play. They do have the SMG on Cryptix, but it is going to be the stack coming in towards drop zone. It's going to be such a tough one for them to get out of, because Kenny is just going to be holding through the window, finds the first. Boaster to claim the life of Cryptix. A huge mistake to be made there, and then eventually, at least he will pick off Kenny S, but that is just going to be a commiseration frag, as he is all alone. And Milliman places a check, and well, perhaps going to be loving a bit of Gary Jules' Mad World at this point, because there really is nowhere left for him to run, no bomb plant that he can really even play for.
Almost lining up, not quite going to be able to get Happy, and well, the start has made things a little bit easier now for MV. They're going to have a nice boost to their economy early on. Wouldn't even be surprised if somehow Apex gets back onto an MP9. It seems to be his weapon of choice in the last map, at least. In terms of the buy itself, they do have an AWP onto Kenny, which is only going to make things a little bit more difficult. And Apex, well, he's decided, okay, it's only pistols coming at me this time, so I will fight fire with fire and use the 5.7 itself. Either way, it's looking like we're about to see the Glock plus 1 P250 go ham into drop down. Try and get themselves a plant. That's the main aim here. And, well, they'll even take MBK with him. Already doing a little bit of extra damage, but Happy, he's going to be mowing them down. Switches to the pistol, but another is lost. And this isn't too bad so far, actually, from Fish123. They've managed to get themselves a couple of kills. They still have the bomb in their hands. And, in fact, going over to the A site is a great read. There's nobody there. They're going to have themselves a plant. So, done exactly what they needed to do in this round, and even have the chance to fight back to try and win it.
Yeah, in terms of toolset to fight back, it's not bad at all. They've got the Faust, they've got the UMP. They don't have Kevlar, which I mean that first shot is going to be ever so important. Of course, you do take a glance over at EnVyUs and realize they do have 2 kits as well, and most importantly, it's going to be that Molotov onto a Sixer. But so far, so good. Boaster will claim the life of Apex. Looking now for a quick second. The Sixer will peek it out. Going to be looking for the headshot. Not quite able to connect it, but will be quite a lot of damage, which will begin to add on up. And well, this is where the Molotov comes into play. We'll drop it down, looking to clear out that under portion of balcony. But not before Aaron can claim the life of Kenny.
Is it going to be the second time today? Is it really going to be the second time today? Six are going to be pushing out to try and finish this one off. For anybody who didn't realize, the second time today that Pure Glocks +1 P250 has won a round. That's genuinely one of the most infuriating things I think I've ever witnessed, and it's happened twice today. But absolutely brilliant for Fish123. They managed to make the Glocks work, get themselves the rifles on the board, the AWP onto Weber as well, and well, you look on the opposite side, it's only really happy with an M4. The rest of the players are down to pistols.
Yeah, there's going to be by all means a bit of a shaky start coming in from EnVyUs. Can't really respond too much into this round. Of course, he can look somewhat towards Happy and see if he can do too much, as well as these Eagles will try and find those individual picks, but in the same regard, going for those kind of 1Ds, they do tend to be a bit of a kind of a potluck scenario, and while they don't always come up trumps for your team, as Fish going to be looking to do the work, and no better way to start things off than Weber with the AWP back in action as he claims the life of MBK.
A nice start to the round. Over towards that B site. It does actually force a slight rotation as well from Happy, meaning that the M4, the one glimmer of hope that they have in play at the moment, is going to be rotating back towards B, and in fact his teammates will follow, meaning that if the push does come in the next few seconds or so, it will be clear pickings at the moment for Fish to get themselves onto the site. Of course, Apex with the Deeg has been known to go off the chains on occasion, but this is a pretty difficult occasion to try and attempt it on already. However, the rotation will come back, so 3 players now remaining on the site. A flank also coming in the form of Kenny, and well, you now have that rifle ready in play over towards the corner position. Now, they're actually holding with a couple of players in this spot. This is kind of dirty. You don't normally put 2 players in this sort of bait spot, and Sixer, he's trying to play it well. He's peeked out and basically said, hey, you know what? You cleared this spot. Well done, guys. Everything is clear. Happy's going to come out and go, nah, not really. Only gets 1, but it's a nice little cheeky attempt from Envy.
It's a nice attempt. Unfortunately, it doesn't really bear too many rewards, and to be honest, Happy dying with that rifle is not necessarily the end of the world, because you do take a glance at that CT side economy and go, okay, well, they can still...
Sixer's a little bit off.
Yeah, Sixer is kind of the one discerning factor when you look at him and go, okay, 3,400. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm not surprised for him to go towards a shotgun, or I was more expecting an SMG to be dropped, given over towards Apex, and then Apex would just give his rifle to Sixer.
Well, yeah, also Apex likes to play the shotties as well, so I am a little bit surprised, but then again, we have sort of talked about what we've seen from Sixer in the last map at least. He does look like he's playing a little bit more of a support role. Nade starting off will take Mole down to 58 HP, making that shotgun a little bit more deadly, although close range it definitely can get those one-shots. Watch Keeve last game, and well, we've seen him earlier, a couple of weeks ago, actually doing the exact same thing. 4 kills he managed to get with the Swag 7. I'm not expecting that to happen again, but Sixer still has a good opportunity to do just that. Now, the rest of the team, they've actually been very, very good so far. They've saved a hell of a lot of utility until the later round position. Sixer will be left blind, and they're going to throw quite a bit of utility, but it looks like at least a couple of the players are starting to fall backwards.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting setup to come into play. Of course, it is still going to be relatively slow stuff from pretty much either team, but it will be Aaron to try and lead the charge. They do push their way out towards the second row of drop zone, but MBK just going to be dropping them dead right where they stand, looking for even a third at this point, just going ever so aggressive, and he will get punished, but not for Sixer can begin to aid with that Mag 7. Happy to find another one towards Cryptix, and well, unfortunately for Fish, they had a relatively nice start with a couple of rounds here and there, but EnVyUs, they dropped the gauntlet, and they aren't quite out of the woods just yet. You do have to look towards Fish and kind of really play to the fact that they can still afford to buy, and a relatively strong buy at that, you know, still an AWP and such into play if they so choose. In comparison, EnVyUs, they don't quite have, you know, a pitch-perfect economy either yet, but in the same regard, it's enough.
Yeah, we'll be, as said, a little bit limited in terms of their early round positions, taking Avenue over towards that A site and leaving just one man in the form of Crypt over towards B. Hasn't really made too much presence known, could even just go for the split down into drop down. And what it looks like, we're about to see a boost come out in the form of Apex. He will boost Happy up into spot. Now this position is normally good for at least a kill. After that, it should really be traded out, but for the CT side, they're going to hope to get a little bit more than that. in terms of Crip, we're still waiting to see if his presence is going to be made known over towards that drop-down position, and then really has that split availability, or could at least hold down a couple of the players trying to rotate back. If he doesn't achieve anything, well then maybe we have a couple of problems. Either way, getting down to the minute mark, Fish haven't really done too much in terms of actually clearing angles. They need to make sure that the rest of the long position is actually clear and that there isn't anybody there for when they go to execute.
Gotta say, in terms of this position from Happy, I do like it. However, I'm actually going to go out there and say that I'm expecting Fish to check it straight off the bat, and that's purely down for one reason. That position is one of the most overused positions in terms of kind of the domestic Counter-Strike that these guys will be playing. So it is kind of very much a common spot in terms of something to look towards. The flashes and such will begin to pop off then. Let's see what Happy can deliver as... Well, they're just going to let me down. Looks like they should be checking it, but Happy just walking all over them. Boy, it's not like this. We're going to find one for his troubles, but that is disappointing to see. Cryptic's the last man remaining, got himself that Tech 9. Does have Kevlar at least, so something. But with 10 seconds left, there really is no hope. And
is it?
I'm really
That's what you
tilted.
get for believing in the UK.
I've seen that spot so many times, and I'm pretty confident these players know that spot is utilised by a lot of teams.
It's more whether or not they expected them to use something closer to home. Either way, doesn't seem like it works out in the end, and EnVy are going to get their 4th round on the board. A rifle will be saved for Crip, enabling him to get some utility or something if necessary, but it's the rest of the team who are currently struggling for money, but they are still going to go for it no matter what.
I think overall it is a workable buy from a T side, though the Tech 9s do paint a bit of an iffy picture, and it does raise the question of, are we just going to be seeing flat out aggression? Of course, it looks like Cryptix is going to be looking for a bit of a spot of his own, just in that core clustered up group. Looked like he was going to lead the charge in towards drop zone, but having some second thoughts, and we'll just fall back to the back lines as the bomb is going to set itself up towards B platform. And in regards to Fish, it is going to be those Tech Mans going up front through drop zone, and MBK just going to be spraying through the smoke boaster, just knocked down ever so low. This is almost just insulting how much damage has been done through the smoke, so he will have to swap to the USB, and that will give them an opportunity as Mole, Boaster, and Aaron will all connect all across the board. But you look at their HPs, a serious opportunity for Happy nonetheless will appear, and well, he finds himself too. Does get left in a 1 versus 3 though, and this is where things could get a little bit tougher.
He has to know there's a player behind as well. That's just... I actually know it was Crip to find the kill, so clearly he didn't, but that's unfortunate. The flank really nice there from Crip, manages to get him behind and just ruin any chance of him actually winning the round. A nice bounce back as well for the UK side, as they've managed to pretty much straight out break the economy of EnVy, who are back to next to nothing. Will go for a couple of pistols in this sort of circumstance, and you have to remember, even with the next round loss bonus, they're only going to have 1,900 coming into the bank account, and it will be one of those sort of limited buys once again. However, 4 rounds already on the board. Definitely looking more towards their T side, but at the same time, oh wow, just that Deagle name.
Yeah, that's different.
That is not safe for work.
By all means, yeah, not really a great name to be putting on your Deagle. Not gonna lie, but we're gonna gloss over that as we do. Of course, it is that 4-4 score, and looking to see what these Deagles and very much kind of mixed bag of pistols can bring to the table. Of course, it is a bit much to expect anything too crazy, but we are looking for kind of 1 or 2 franks here and there, and well, gotta say, so far so good. It has been a bit of a back and forth battle in terms of both of these teams. Apex going to put on a bit of a show with a quick 1D on towards the cranium of Aaron. We'll look for that second on towards Cryptix, but he's just going to drop down off a balcony, and well, Apex will give him an opportunity to swivel around. They're trying to take it one step further, but it is going to be the mop-up rolling in. Cryptix to find himself 2 in the rounds. Boaster and Aaron going to be there to aid, and Mole and Webber just going to be the supporting figures when it comes down to positioning overall.
The UK will send the French packing in this round at least. I wonder if we'll see some sort of a buy here. It looks like they're just going to go for the double pistol buy, so not going to invest too much into it, but it will just be one of those sort of positions where the T's can just make more money. That's the big thing. They can really sort of work on getting themselves that extra cash, and you already see from Crip, he's got 6,950 still in the bank account. However, the rest of the team could use maybe a little bit of a boost. Of course, it does mean that there's going to be a pretty damn good buy coming back from EnVy in the next round, and I do know that this is still a sort of 9-6 T-sided map. And well, so far so good. The CT side actually doing a hell of a lot of damage. Speaking about making money, so far not so good for the T's.
Yeah, it seems to be envious, and these pistols have been either just completely whitewashed, or just going to fight back in a rather hilarious manner, as Cryptix will claim the life of Kenny as peeks out to fight a second on towards Sixer, and well, it looked like there was some damage to be done, but now it is just Happy all alone in a corner, dancing on away. He does have himself that CZ. He's going to spot out one, but decides not to bite the bullet and go for a bit of a slower style play. Just bring back his inner snacks, but it doesn't quite pay off.
Was it called an inner snacks? Because surely before snacks it was happy.
I mean, I always look. I'll never forget snacks on Mirage. Some of the plays that he's pulled off.
Plenty of good ones to be had either way, Kenny. Back on the AWP. Now, this has been a few rounds in a row for Fish. As said, they've made a little bit of extra money by resetting that CT economy. Of course, they now have full nades in play, a kit as well onto Sixer. And, well, the T side, their idea is to rush straight in. Apex will get one. Has to be careful. They're pushing his way, but he gets the second as well. Boaster looking for Happy. Will quickly trade two back. And, well, maybe they're not missing Rattlesnake after all, as he's stepping up big so far. Looking for Kenny to switch it up with the AWP, but it's Sixer to trade out Aaron, leaving it to a 3 versus 2. Boaster to try and find it all now, as Kenny has found one more.
Boaster, when we left on 34 HP, we'll find the headshot on towards Sixer, so it brings it to a 1 versus 2, so potential certainly will exist. But in the same regard, it's that seed of doubt which will begin to be a bit more problematic for Boaster, as he has decided to just branch on over on towards that B site. Of course, the bomb on his back, and really nothing too crazy taking place. He's just going to run on over, and the CT side aren't responding. They're going to sit ever so patiently on towards the A site, and I can see why EnVyUs are doing this, because as much as sending one guy over towards B site is smart because it'll give the information, what happens if that one guy gets taken down, and from there it's a 1 versus 1. So it's a complete different scenario overall, which paints a a tough one. It is that 1 versus 2 though, looking to see what Boaster can deliver, and the fact he's not planted now gives me some serious second thoughts.
He's going for the win. Doesn't want to try and challenge off the bomb. He wants to try and challenge straight off the face of Kenny, and he's going to find it. Nice shot, brings it back. He's got 4 kills now, Boaster, on for the ace. Only MBK standing his way, but I say only MBK. This is the man that you have to watch out for, and he is holding the okay, Boaster! Aces, finds every single player, and wow, what a clutch to make that a 7th round on the board for Fish.
Ladies and gentlemen, Boaster.
Rattlesnake who? Rattlesnake who?
Yeah, that's insane performance being brought to the table by Boaster, delivering something truly, well, a spectacle. And it's a shame that you guys can't hear the music coming from the stage right now, because it's very emotional, very intense, and certainly is kind of almost ringing true to how things are swung in this matchup so far.
I got tears in my eyes.
I really don't know why the stage music is that kind of rhythmic, but either way, EnVyUs back.
These guys are going to end up getting knighted if they continue playing this well.
Yeah, who knows at this point? Anything is possible. Fish putting on a very nice show on this T side of Cobblestone, and well, I've got to say it wasn't expected by a long shot. I didn't expect this sort of level of play coming out from them, but it seems like they're hitting their shots, and Envy a little bit sleepy so far, but of course it is relatively early days just yet, and well, let's see what will swing out in this round. Of course, it should just be clear-cut Fish getting themselves on towards their 8th. But Envy and Pistols, that's always an iffy question.
It's always a recipe for disaster. We're already rotating over a 3rd player onto the site. Apex will start things off with the Deeg, and now we look towards the rest of the players on the site. There's going to be 4 players now on this A site, a stack to be had, and well, already Apex is going to grab a second. Aaron's position is good, but it's going to be happy to trade. Already this is getting a little bit scary now. Fish, they need to try and take this one over the line. They want to keep it, get themselves their 8. And there is, well, Kenny trading one back is all down to Crip, and he's not going to do it either. Apex with an absolutely massive round, gets himself 3 kills overall. And out of all the rounds that we were expecting Envy to win, that was definitely not one of them.
See, this is what removes my faith right there. Those sort of rounds, it's like you deliver something huge. Like you
that can happen to anyone.
Step up in a 5K, and then just EnVyUs just pulling it.
We're going to win the World Cup.
I mean, and it's not. I literally just remove the nationalities from this aspect. Just look at these 5 players in the server. That is kind of the point in itself. Envy shouldn't be allowed to get away with things with that level of pistols, and they seem to be able to do it with quite a lot of teams nowadays, and it's just that never-ending question of how on earth the teams let it happen. Let themselves get split off into those kind of 3 versus 3s that rapidly turn to different directions. But for now, let's see how things will swing. Of course, it is a much more balanced buy across the board. No AWPs in place, so it's going to be just flat-out rifles, and in terms of what Fish are bringing to the table, it's just going to be more presence gained over towards drop zone as they look to just gain themselves some map control.
We wait for the T's to make their move. Now, still got plenty of time left on the clock. Utility is a plus at the moment for Envy. Of course, picking up a couple of AKs into the last round is definitely going to boost their economy at least, but that early win needs to come up with a second, otherwise it will all be for nothing. Their economy will be lost and they will be reset. So, Aaron pushing out onto the site. A bit of an individual play. There isn't really any support for him here, and that's just going to leave him out to dry as Apex take his head clean off. Make that another for Apex. He's stepped up in the last couple of rounds. First with the dig. However, well, he's not so happy with Kenny's performance. He's taken him out of the round. Boaster will grab an assist for that one, but either way, the last two players isolated from the bomb, not only by a smoke, but by a wall of players. And it's looking like it's just going to be a shutdown round.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, the smokes were just all set up in a bit of a tough predicament for Fish to really handle. They didn't have the vision. They had very much limited information from there. Things just fell off. And it's the same sort of thing that EnVyUs do with these pistols, but then you mix in utility and it just becomes even much of a more darker objective-based play, because it's pretty much coming down to them being so strong at just taking players who are standing together in a unit, who are going into round saying, we're going to stick together, and forcing them to split off into these tiny chunks. And that's where things really do just kind of fall out of contention, especially for mixed-based teams, because it is much easier for that sort of play style to work.
Already, we are back to pistols, at least for 4 of the 5 players. Boaster, the man with the ace, is going to be trying to do some work here, but it's MBK to start things off. A couple of kills either way. Sixer is there with him, but it's still going to be quick trades, and well, it's seemingly working, at least for the T's. They managed to grab themselves another with Aaron on his double, and now it's all down to Apex to actually clutch this one out. It seems the pistols work both ways, Ryan, and now it's Apex trying to clutch versus 2.
Yeah, certainly in a bit of a tough predicament, and he's just got the complete wrong read. Runs on towards the ace side,
Bamboozled.
but his sprint legs are going the wrong direction. Bamboozled. Well, either way, he's been played hook, line, and sinker. Will try and flash himself through the door, but the angles are going to be held, and him gaining ground is going to be ever so tough for him at this point, as he will try and push around through Fountain. We had a spot out that there is a player over towards Chicken Coop, but Mole will land the shot, and well, there you have it. The pistols, they do work both ways, and I'm just as disappointed in Envy in that regard, but nonetheless, it is a 6-8 scoreline, and this is standard in terms of Cobblestone.
Yeah, no, this is...
So it's nothing unexpected, but right. we have to give huge props to Fish. They're actually doing really well.
Yeah, the next step will be their CT side.
Yeah, that's where things can get a little bit rough.
That's where things will get interesting.
We'll get there when we get to it. For now, let's look at EnVyUs and see what they can bring to the table in this round, because they actually have an opportunity to...
Let's stay in Ryan's happy place.
Yeah, let's stay in my happy thoughts. This has been a very weird cast. I'm not quite sure how else to describe it.
Sixer will be left isolated and taken down already. Boaster starting things off once again. Another for Weber as they split onto the B site. But quick kills from Kenny, who gets 3. Somehow still alive in the corner. Eventually traded out. He's given Apex a chance. The same chance he had in the last round. However, it's just as difficult. Luckily for him, they are slightly isolated. He's got a good chance. Ooh, only goes for the one shot. You need a little bit more with the M4 now, buddy. And it's all down to Mole. He's got himself the AWP. Got plenty of time to play with, so can run the mind game just as we've seen before. And already Apex seems to have a good idea, and, well, now it's just going to be the hunt over towards that A side.
Yeah, in terms of kind of the way things are swung in this round, it seems to be the exact same scenario of the CT side just getting played like a violin, and Fish just being more than happy just to sing to that tune. As for now, it is going to be Mole on towards that site, looking to get the bomb down. We'll hold towards door, and do kind of think that as much as it's nice that he tries to get the information, the best bet is just to get the bomb down, because he's going to need those precious seconds to get himself in a more apt position, because he doesn't want to take this fight with the Tech 9. Ultimately, he wants to use that AWP to its full advantage, which means withdraw back towards long and get himself in a scenario where he can, and even so, rotate back towards ramp and will make the play from there. As Apex, speaking of ramp, is going to be there, just going to be peek towards long, but Mole going to hold the angle, finds the shot, and oh, there you have it. It is going to be that 9-6 scoreline, favoring the T-Cert.
Yeah, we joked and we jeered, and well, seems like the UK scene is here. They have started off strong. They've got that 9-6, probably more than most people would have expected looking at it, and they'll have some phenomenal rounds all the way across the board. Now they have to try and do the same on the CT side. Of course, to be a little bit unbiased, I will talk about the fact that EnVy are going onto the favoured side of the map, but ultimately UK. Let's go UK.
I'm generally like not even being biased going through this one. I just love your... I love casting this with you right now, because I can never tell if you're being serious with some of the comments you're saying.
I am always going to support the UK.
I do love that kind
except
of sense
in
of
Brexit.
pride. Yeah, that's generally I can agree with that.
Didn't support them so much there.
Yeah, didn't really stand behind that, to be honest. That was not really a good plan. Someone screwed up with that. Just putting that out there.
Don't worry, there's 350 million not going to the NHS.
Yeah.
It's not on the side of a bus, guys, so
Not
it doesn't
on the
count.
side of
Oh. Either way,
Yeah.
pistol round. Boaster. He's got himself the kid in play. smoke behind it, and Weber will hold the rest of the utility. Same can be said for Kenny and Apex, and we're going to have the Tech 9 armor onto Happy, the raid boss, to start already. Apex going to take a nasty bit of damage from the nade. Flash will be popped out. It's actually a smoke, and well, Weber, he grabs the first kill.
A nice way to kick things off, but MBK will respond with a frag on towards Cryptics. They are looking to take things one step further, but they have to build up. In order to do that, it means just more frags, more firepower, and well, Kenny is there to really aid in a matter. MBK to find a second, of course, and it's just going to be Fish left in a bit of a predicament. Boaster going to tap one away, and we'll eventually find the cranium of MBK. So punishment has been inflicted. And they will actually find a second on towards Happy, so relatively nice stuff coming in from the CT side. But look at Kenny, he is going to be right behind them and just almost prepared just to slip that knife in between their ribs, as they will just be jumping on around. Of course, with Sixer at this point, he just doesn't want to face. Kenny has to find the first very swift and clean one tap. Looking now for the second on towards Boaster, who will try and stick the defuse. But in fairness, that is...
It was risky. He did have a kit, but I think the second he got tapped through the smoke, it just wasn't really worth it anymore. Now, this buy from EnVy... Okay, they've gone...
This is confidence.
They've gone straight for the MAC-10s. Confidence, but we've already seen them lose to pistols. Granted, I feel like it's a little bit easier to lose to pistols when their T-side Tech 9's running at you. This is the Deegs 5.7s, so maybe it'll be a little bit easier, but at the same time, they still have MBK as the security. Almost the bodyguard holding you back on a night out to say, no, do you know what, guys? You're not coming in. I'm going to take this over the line. So,
on a night out, don't you mean UK LAN?
Whatever. You see now who's making UK references. I just made a nice quote towards drinking.
Sixer, make it on point.
MBK will be pushing out, and well, it's going to be those MAC-10s spraying away so far. Well, I was going to say not so good, but it seems to be Happy just cleaning things up. 3 kills, spraying and praying, and well, they make the money all the way across the board. The only man to go down is actually the AK.
That's a very risky play being brought to the table by
They
EnVyUs,
didn't actually pick the AK up.
Trumps, and yeah, not picking up the AK is certainly a questionable move, but in the same regard, we saw Apex decide to want to stick the SMGs. Perhaps he's just brainwashed his entire team towards that sort of aspect, as for now you do kind of look towards the CT side and go, well, realistically, they're not bringing too much to the table either, so to keep these MAC-10s in play isn't terrible.
Yeah, they are going to try and farm some of that cash money. This is likely to bring us back to the 9-9 scoreline, which is expected after the pistol win. There will be 4 players over towards that B side, but nothing really out of the ordinary, even in terms of a sort of buy round at the moment for Fish123. They're just going to try and work on the sort of crossfire positions and tap away at a couple of heads. Of course, the MAC-10s are just going to come in spraying, praying, and well, it won't be, in fact, MBK to do the majority of them. So they've actually got 2 players on tree. A little bit unorthodox, but it doesn't matter anyway, and well, the money will be farmed up. And now, EnVy, how many of them are they going to keep? That's what I'm interested in.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they just keep it as is, 2 AK-47s and 3 MAC-10s, because as much as Fish are coming to Swarm guns blazing with 5 M4s, for a start, there is going to be a very kind of audible level of confidence coming from EnVyUs. Yes, their scoreline is 9-9, so it is kind of even Stevens in the grand scheme of things, but when you read into that scoreline, EnVyUs are always going to feel confident no matter what, and I do kind of think that's why we're seeing some MAC-10s, especially judging of how Apex has been playing, which is relatively not surprising.
No head armor as well on all players except for one, and that will be proven by Weber, who loses his head very quickly. The one advantage of those MAC-10s when you're playing against head armor, it's very, very easy to actually just spray 1 bullet into the face. Either way, it is going to be a quick trade. Crip will be there to find the kill back, but for every MAC-10 that's traded out, it gets closer and closer to just the AKs left for contention. Of course, EnVy will be able to buy into the next round no matter what happens. Boaster playing up close, ready to catch MBK, but he misses the shots, and Sixer in the meantime has already taken over the site. This leaves Boaster alone and scared, and well, he's taken down as well. Molt doing quite a bit of damage, actually catches Apex down to just 4 HP, and well, the rotation coming in, it is going to be down to just Crip. He needs a 1v2 here to give them a chance, and well, MBK, he has other ideas.
Unfortunately for Cryptics, will just fall off of the balcony. He tries to make something happen, but unfortunately,
they're going to buy more MAC-10s.
This is why the MAC-10s are actually so strong, because if they are paying off, if they are allowed to just walk all over their opposition, the sheer amount of money they gain pretty much means at any point they want to come off of the MAC-10s, they can just buy into anything. They could go 5 auto snipers by the time they continue to farm up.
I hope not. I think that would be the day I die.
Probably, but who knows? Anything is possible. For now, it is just those MAC-10s looking to make some money. In the grand scheme of things, this isn't terrible. There's 2 SMGs and 3 rifles. This is almost kind of standard Counter-Strike at this point being brought to the table by EnVyUs. Of course, Fish are just wielding these pistols, so the direct counterweight to that is the SMGs, not only from an element of kind of rate to fire, but also just for sheer money-making potential, something we really have stressed when it comes down to those MAC-10s. As Aaron already been knocked down to 28 HP, the Deagle will rattle on away, but happy to find the first, looking now for a little bit more as Sixer going to be there to aid, finding two of his own, happy to find a headshot with the pistol on towards Boaster, leaving Weber in a bit of a tough scenario.
Either way, it will be a quick clean-up in that round, at least for EnVy, 11-9. And now the buy comes in. Double AWP set up straight off the bat for Fish123. They're going to go fighting and try and take the picks to their opposition. Got plenty of utility on the remaining players as well. Only Weber really taking a bit of a hit and, well, a couple of kits to support. MAC-10 will stay on Apex. I think he's played the majority of the last two maps with SMGs, so I'm not overly surprised by this very factor. And there are still 3 players without head armor, which means it's still going to be pretty damn effective. Also, it can just be used as basically an info finder. If he gets a kill, a trade, it's worth it for him. However, a couple of kills will come back. Boaster finds the first, but Weber going big with the AWP, already picks up 2. Looking for a little bit more.
It's going to be hungry, but whether it actually leads to anything is going to be a bit of a different question, as of course Sixer is going to spam on away, but Weber to find another shot, doing so much work in this round, a triple now in total in terms of his potential, and he's going to play for the 4th. Happy will be his target, of course, is going to push on in with this rifle. Not quite going to be up for grabs just yet, as Weber is actually going to run towards long, but Aaron's still going to be there to pick him off nonetheless, and it's going to be the team play working out for Fish, which is such a surprising aspect. In the same regard, it's what's winning them rounds, and it makes things ever so close, bringing it back to an 11-10 scoreline. And, well, this is the first round they found in this second half, which is their kind of entry point. This is their launch pad. They have to make this one work, and it really is so important for them.
Yeah, if they lose this round, there probably will be somewhat of a force buy back in, but it won't be anything too special, and I don't think EnVy are going to be struggling anytime soon. Either way, 4 players will gather towards that A site early on, and Kenny's going to take down Weber, player who stepped up big in the last round with the AWP, is not going to have any impact, and this is just their moment to pounce. Boaster quickly taken down by the entry fragger of Apex as well, leaving just 3 players left to try and survive the bombardment, and it looks like they're going to fall back by Happy. The lurker, he has other ideas. He wants to at least try and make this costly, and well, it's not going to happen. Crip will take him down at least. Either way, it's looking like they're just going to try and save their weapons on the B side. You can already see the rotation coming out from Apex. He doesn't like that idea either, but they are trying to stick as a team.
Sticking as a team is going to be the best play, because it means that when gunfights like that take place, they can just double peek, and well, that's where things like Apex get stuck in a bit of a, well, a scenario that you can't necessarily worm your way out of.
Stuck in the middle with you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kenny will be looking to try and take one, and more Mole. He may jump, but he's not going to get into his hole this time. Will be taken out by Kenny, leaving just a few. And, well, Aaron is at least going to do a little bit of extra damage. Of course, the T side, their money's still pretty damn good, so it is worthwhile just to try and fight these back. Of course, with the max loss bonus on the board, there's actually still a pretty good opportunity to buy, and in fact, they're actually going to drop an AWP over as well.
Yeah, so still a very nice opportunity for them, and it certainly does raise the question that they're not half the count just yet. Of course, a 12-10 score, and it's just as easily swung back in either direction. For EnVy's sake, they are going to be looking to keep on pushing on ahead and close this one out, but for Fish, it's all about the comeback now. 2 rounds is, you know, a small gap at that, and you do look towards EnVy's economy and go, it's not easily broken. In terms of what's being brought into play this time around, you do look towards this T side, and they're pretty spread across the map. We are seeing quite a lot of lurking coming from Happy, but at times his lurking hasn't really been too fruitful. A lot of times it's just been him solo peeking on towards the B side and eventually being taken down a peg. Of course, in comparison, the rest of the team are looking to just go in as these almost dynamic duos of pairings. It is going to be Apex leading the charge over towards long. Going to be backed up by Kenny S with that AWP, and well, let's see if they can really do the work, as Aaron will be the man to hold off that just close ramp portion, aided by a second player to support him, but he will only manage to find one as Sixer equipped to attack things back.
Yeah, quick headshot from Aaron, but it's not quite enough. Kenny is going to be pushing out from long. And it's going to be quick trays, but inevitably coming out with the T's in favor. However, Sixer low. Kenny, if he connects his shot, the round should be all but done, but it's actually going to give an opportunity to Crip to try and have a repeak. Remaining player is still to rotate with the AWP on Mole. And the bomb, in the meantime, will be going down. Sixer doing his job perfectly. Either way, we look towards Crip. He's got to try and make his way back into the site. If they're going to challenge this, they're going to have to do it soon. And it looks like they are not having this one. Falling back away. EnVy will be getting on to 13. And while it's only been 1 round so far in this half, and that will be a 7th for EnVy.
I do think that there's one thing that these guys aren't going to be scared of in terms of Fish, playing up against the comeback. It's such almost a common theme nowadays, and a lot of teams do struggle with it. But I think, you know, I look at these summer players and I go Aaron, for example, Weber. These guys have all, you know, been a part of comebacks, whether it's at domestic events or whether it's, you know, in teams and whatnot. So I don't think this is completely off the cards for them. So saving for them is a much more viable call because they know they can go bring something back in a much more better buy without just throwing rounds away for pretty much no reason.
Either way, they are still going to be backs up against the wall for this. The buy that they'll be bringing in should be somewhat decent. Of course, they do have a little bit of a skimp in terms of Weber with the 5-7, but the rest of the team are still going to have a little bit of utility. I think Moles had to skimp a little bit after the drop, and, well, now we look towards what the CTs can do. EnVy are starting to look like they're back into full swing. This was always a prominent factor that the CT side would struggle for Fish because of that sort of mixed team availability. It's very, very difficult to play Cobble CT side as it is, so add in that, and you are having a problem. The T side for them, pretty damn good, but at the same time, they now need to bring it back. Apex looking to be the Sentry Fragger rod. There's actually only 2 players on the site itself. This is going to be a pretty much gamble over towards A, and while the gamble doesn't seem to have paid off so far already, Mo will be losing his life. Apex has managed to get all the way out drop without any sort of effectiveness at all. That's going to be quick cleanup already. And now, while the remaining 2 players, they've got that dilemma again. Are they going to challenge or are they going to save? And it looks like they've had enough of saving. They'll challenge. Aaron, well, 1 versus 5.
Yeah, they can challenge all they want, but at this point it's just Aaron trying to find those commiseration frags again because he doesn't have the time. He has some utility and such, and he's going to be doing a good chunk of damage. Going to take down Happy and MBK as well, bringing things to at least a 1 versus 2, but they should just be able to hold these angles, and, well, there you have it. So I do give credit to Aaron, a valiant attempt, but to pull it off is going to be a whole different question in itself, and you just have to look at the economy of this T side. It's so well built up, $12,400 in the bank of KennyS. That's post-buy. It's very much a similar story for quite a lot of those players. You know, 6 are on 11,700, and for EnVyUs right now, as much as Fish, they want to play for that comeback. It's something that they feel comfortable doing. There is a line when it's just no longer possible, and we are rapidly encroaching that point now as EnVyUs. They're on 14, Fish still perched ever so at 10, and, you know, at least what they can bring to the table in this round is, what, it's pretty damn appalling. They've got those 3 pistols, they've got the Famous and the UMP, but, well, can they do the job required? As Aaron will kick things off in a nice little fashion on towards Happy, looking to take things just one step further in terms of damage inflicted. Not quite able to land the shots just yet, and KennyS will respond. MBK to find himself another on towards Boaster, and, well, good night, sweet dreams, Fish. They tried. So far, it's not really paying off.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going too well. Aaron will be able to get himself a rifle. So basically praying on a miracle at this stage if he's going to be able to fight this one back, and already he'll get taken down. The peaks from MBK are just sending them back into the ground. Only 1 remains. Crip even going to get tagged slightly through the door as well. And, well, he'll get himself a frag at least, pushing back in. And actually gets the second as well. It was a nice little flick, but it doesn't seem to matter at the moment. EnVy are in full stride. As said, they've only lost 1 round this entire half.
Yeah, certainly are beginning to cross that line as EnVyUs just looking for 1 more, and, well, we discussed in the first half the possibility of the second being a bit of a whitewash. Only finding 1 round, I class that as a whitewash.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems like a sort of different scenario. A lot of the rounds they were winning were sort of impressive entries coming out from Boaster and some clutch plays as well. It doesn't seem to be transferable onto the CT side at the moment. Either way, it's looking like a smoke setup will be coming in. Flying over. This smoke setup actually gives them the opportunity to fake onto the A site as well. And you can already see they're actually going to go rotating back away. This is just a dastardly plan. The only person who could actually foil this plan is Aaron. But the problem is the fake is actually still pushing in. Actually, well, you see the wait from Happy. Sixer has just jumped into his death and sold this fake perfectly. Boaster will be rotating back around. Now, Aaron's position is actually so valuable for the CT side. And as Crip finds another, this is actually looking plausible for the CT side. Fake is all but good. They don't have so many players to actually play the round with now. Aaron will find 1. His flank does pay off in the end, doing a lot of damage as well to the remaining players. Apex is going to grab 1, but that will be it. Boaster looking to push in. MBK has managed 1, but that's it. Weber finishes things off, and, well, nice little round there. Maybe a little bit over the top from EnVy. Didn't really need to throw out. It's a nice strategy. The only problem is if the fake doesn't do anything, you basically put yourself in a 5v3.
Yeah, you basically just kind of almost dish out a friendly handicap. Of course, it does present that lifeline to Fish in terms of giving them another opportunity to keep up the good fight, per se. You do kind of have to I don't think we really have to touch on EnVyUs' economy. We know it's clear cut. We know their buy is going to be perfect going into this round. One to stress is the fact that in terms of play coming in from Fish, there needs to be a few couple of small changes. And from the most part, I actually want to see some calculated aggression. They have sort of let EnVyUs put them in a box and tell them how to play.
It's funny because they started off doing that, but it almost seemed that Weber, once he got shut down, just gave up, and he's gone back to it again, and unfortunately he has been shut down again, so no opportunity for him to find anything with the AWP, and this leaves them with a man disadvantage going into the position where they're fighting up against the wall. Envy, they're looking to take this second win in the group. Fish, they're getting close to taking their second loss, and that's not the way that they wanted to start this one off. Looking like maybe putting up a decent fight, but not quite enough. They're going to go pushing around the outside of Long at the moment, leaving Boaster alone on the site. The rotation slowly coming back in from Mole. But Boaster is going to have to do a hell of a lot of work here. He's actually going to go peeking out. Finds one, looks for the second, but he's going to be caught with a nade in hand. Goes down to 65 HP. The flash will give him a little bit of time, but they've got to be careful because the push is also coming in from Long at the same time. And, well, there's just no support. It seems that Mole, well, he's actually going to be saved. Actually, they're somehow bringing this back into contention here. 2 versus 2. Hey-ho, maybe. Happy. Kenny. Can you throw this one for the UK scene, or will it be Crip? Aaron actually taking this one home. Aaron, he's going to bring another frag home. It's all down to the man himself, Kenny S. He is playing phenomenally in the second half. 11-2 at the moment. And he's trying to finish this one here and now.
Has got 30 seconds to play, so by all means, a good chunk of time when it comes down to it. Of course, Cryptix and Aaron will be looking to close this one out and really get themselves one step closer to home. He's just going to be going for a bit more of a lurking approach, just walking ever so daintily with the scope in play. But unfortunately, the positions being held, most notably from Aaron, will make things much more easily mopped up. As the CT side, they do come up trumps. They get themselves to 12, and, well, they keep up the good fight, frankly, put as EnVyUs. They do get to rebuy nice and gloriously. Of course, it is still just another perfect buy, but now there is a point to stress in their economy. This is going to be one of the last times they can actually afford to do that.
Yeah, no, this is the opportunity now for Fish to actually make their stand. They've got the AWP back onto Weber again. Flash will be thrown out, but look how aggressive, or initially Kenny was going. Gets shut down by the smoke and decides it's not worth going any further. AWP is still playing over towards that A side, but this time it's taken the connection doors. Now, this was a spot that we were seeing Spiro play, and it is very common in terms of the CT side. AWP gives you a quick rotation, but also the fact that you can fall back and go in back through the balcony. Kenny, however, will start things off. The Molotov is going to clear out the position of Crip, leaves them with a reduced B site hold, and this has been their problem earlier on. They seem to lose a player on this B site, and then once the barreling comes from Envy, there's just nothing they can do to stop it. Apex again gets outdropped without anybody even knowing. It seems that that is another problem that this team has, and Happy, Kenny combined to leave just Boaster. He's done a 1v4 to ace around. He's got to do a 1v5 to do the same.
It's such a tough one for him to try and make work at this point. He's going to peek around through a door, but he's just being held from every single angle. We'll try and find the frag on towards Sixer, but the minute he bites the bullet, Happy will be there to mop things up, and or that will be that. The UK's dreams going to be shot down. 16-12, though, is not a scoreline to be unhappy about. We have to really kind of commend them.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I do think they actually put up one hell of a fight, and I'm genuinely, quite almost proud of them, I guess.
Proud.
I think that in terms of a tactical element as well, there is certainly some serious signs of improvement.
It's more the CT side.
Yeah, the CT side is where there was a hugely gaping hole. Everything